All right, so it looks like folks are trickling in. I see
Oh,
uh,
cool.
some attendees already. There's at least 12 of them that are waiting.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
Hi everyone. If you know, I know we just wrapped up in the main room. Welcome to the Family Voices breakout room. You should be seeing a slide just introducing our parents, and I'll flip back to that in a second. But if one of the attendees can just affirm that they see it just by uh, sharing on the Q&A, just saying, yes, I see it, uh, that'd be great. Perfect. We got a person. Gary says yes. Thank you, Gary. Thanks, Robert. And thanks, Anonymous. Thank you to all. And that's also a great introduction to how you all will be asking your questions of our panelists today. So if you haven't already, if you haven't found the Q&A icon in your Zoom in your Zoom toolbar, please, and it ended the slideshow. Just do use that. And again, we'll take the questions that way. One of the moderators will ask the questions out loud. Okay, cool. So if you have questions, you can start getting, oh, actually, before we start with questions, let me take a second to introduce our panelists. So this is the visual representation of who they are, but it's even better when they get to speak. So let's start with the Elliots. If you could introduce yourselves, that'd be great.
Yep. Hello, this is Liz and my husband, Dean Elliott from Damascus, Maryland. Our daughter, Annie, is currently a sophomore at Harvey Mudd.
Studying engineering.
Okay, go ahead, jump on in, anyone, yeah. Whoever wants to introduce themselves next.
Oh, so I'll go next. So my name is Kim Hunter. Our son Josh is a junior this year studying biology and chemistry. And we live in the Cleveland, Ohio area. So he's class of 21.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. Hi, I'm Eileen Giese. I'm class of 91. My husband, Ben, who's working outside right now, he's also class of 91. We have a daughter who is a senior this year, Jackie. She's a computer science major. Cool. So we have 3 mudders in the home.
Yeah, it's a pack full of mud. And if you can have Kira and Nicole also introduce themselves. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Nicole Ouellette. I work in the Office of College Advancement. I'm the Associate Director for Development, and I also am the volunteer. I help manage the PLC volunteers, members of our Parent Leadership Council, which each of these parents that are on this call today are members of our Parent Leadership Council, serving the Mudd parent community in terms of engagement and support.
Yeah. Cool. Yes. Go ahead, Kira.
Oh, I'm Kira. I'm currently a senior at Harvey Mudd, graduating in May, and I'm studying engineering, and I am from Chicago area.
All right. So, folks, this is for our attendees. This is your chance to ask questions. So please use that Q&A box at the bottom and feed us with some questions. I will start with one. I guess my first question is, what is the biggest change you've seen in your child/student since they started HMC?
Ooh.
And some of you have a 2-year perspective, and some of you have a 3-year perspective on that.
Okay, I'll take it since I have a senior. I have seen a lot of maturity. I have seen a lot of self-thinking. And I think that's the beauty of Mudd. Mudd, at least for my husband and I, and now we can see it in our daughter, has really taught us to think individually and to think from a wide perspective versus a narrow one, probably because of core, since we have to learn both the sciences and the humanities together. So we look at issues and kind of put a wide angle on it when coming up with an opinion or a decision. And I've seen that with my daughter especially. It's pretty cool.
Kira, go ahead and ask our next question.
The next question says, looking back, what do you think are the best things you can do to support your child during the summer and start of school?
Well, I think that's an interesting question. I think as much as you can learn about MUD through these types of sessions is helpful. I think connecting with whoever will be your roommate is a great thing to do ahead of time and start that relationship. And I guess just preparing to be even more independent. Some folks in high school are very independent and others not so much so. So that's a big transition into college, particularly depending on how far you are away from home.
Oh, true.
Yeah, anybody else want to answer that question? Yeah, please feel free, jump in.
Yeah, so this is Liz Elliott, and I think the things that helped really Annie and getting her ready were some sort of logistical sorts of things, like we opened up a bank that had a branch here and at Harvey Mudd. We connected with family on the West Coast intentionally because we had we're on the East Coast. And so sort of thinking through even things like how do we get linens and towels out there, but to actually spend some intentional thought about how to get set up in a different part of the country, I think helped all of our stress levels and made the transition more smooth.
I'm a local parent. We're in San Diego. So in terms of logistics, it was easier for us. I'd go out like maybe every other weekend initially, freshman year, to help with whatever Jackie might have forgotten or thought she needed. So that wasn't too hard for us. I wonder if I could say this on this webcast, but if you are
go ahead, yeah.
and I can say this because I have a senior, if you are a helicopter parent, it's a good time to stop maybe helicoptering quite so much because, and of course it depends on your child too, but they learn to become really independent at MUD. I notice on our Harvey Mudd family Facebook page that there are quite a few helicopter parents that do it with the right heart and with the right intention. But college is a time for your child to become independent, and so the less you do for them, the more you help them do things for themselves. Would be a great transition. Would be good. I think it's good advice. I was a helicopter parent, so I admit that. But over time, I learned to pull back because at some point they're like, "I don't need anything, Mom. Stop texting me," that sort of stuff. So that's my 2 cents there.
Kira, can you think about what you think your parents could have done or your family members could have done to best support you? Not just in the beginning, but as the 4 years has gone through.
Yeah, definitely. So I think also being, from out of town, the logistical stuff definitely makes sense. And we did a lot of that too. And it was kind of weird because I am somebody who likes to be really organized and plan things, but I also don't like change, but I knew I was going to college. And so I think I planned things to the extent that I wanted to, but I wasn't, decorating my entire dorm room with magazines and everything and picking everything out right away. And I'm glad my parents didn't push that on me because thinking about that stuff made me more and more nervous. but I did have to think logistically, how am I going to send some of my stuff to school and things like that. So I think there's a balance there. And then I think also something just to highlight is that it's, if there's any ways to make sure that going home is something that that your child wants to do, to have that be a safe space for them to take their breaks, to not worry about school, to, Mud can get really stressful with the work that we're doing. And so to have to go home to a stressful environment as well, for any reason, whether that be helicopter parenting or, this, that, or whatever, just try to make, coming home as inviting as possible by allowing that independence to come home with them and things like that.
Somewhat connected to that, there is a question that says, we live in London. So we live in London. So I have a question about what your students do with all their stuff during summer for those of you who don't live close to HMC.
I can answer that just off the bat, that Harvey Mudd does offer subsidized storage for the summer. So it's very easy just to pack your stuff up right on campus. They'll put storage pods on campus and, or at least very nearby, and get part of the payment for that summer storage subsidized. And then you just pick it back up when you come back to school.
And then if I can add to that, there are families that live close by. So if your child has a roommate who's local, then local families are always welcome. Or at least we were to store stuff that didn't quite fit in the pods at the end of the summer. So we've stored stuff for people every summer since freshman year as well. And then we just bring it back when the school year restarts.
And one of the things with the storage pods that's very helpful is to purchase plastic totes, like from Target or whatever store. And then you can put them inside each other and store them under the bed during the semester. And then when it's time to pack things up, you can put them back in the plastic containers and then put them in the pods. That seemed to work pretty well.
And I know we sent our daughter to Harvey Mudd with old suitcases, sort of the ones that were about, we would have thrown away otherwise. And then it wasn't as big of a concern if they got a little bit beat up. And then we were last out for a family weekend and she sent us back with one of those really fancy suitcases. We'll probably never lose it and always have it. So I would just sort of perhaps not invest in the best there is, because it will get a bit beaten up through the years.
Yeah, folks, just a reminder, we're using the Q&A box there. So if you have any questions, do feel free to post them there, and our panelists would be happy to answer them. We have 5 family members who are ready to answer your questions. So the next question we have is that, does anyone here have experience with a change of major? When and how can it happen?
I can jump on that.
Yeah,
I can jump on that first. So declaring and changing your major is very simple. There's a Google form on the school website that you fill out, and you'll send an email or two and get approval really quickly. For declaring your major, you can't declare your freshman year, so you'll get a taste of everything before you make that decision. But by sophomore year, when you make that decision, it's super easy. Well, it's not necessarily an easy decision to make, but declaring is easy. And if you want to change your major, as long as you're doing it within sophomore year, you have plenty of leeway to adjust your classes accordingly, and nobody's going to stop you from changing your mind. If it happens anytime after that, it might be harder to work things into your schedule the right way. But I know somebody who's changed from physics to engineering as late as the summer after sophomore year. And granted, that was a lot of work for her, but we can make things work, and it's very simple.
Yeah, I think my daughter, to her friend, I think changed her major 3 times. So she had a little bit of a challenge trying to get like all the requirements put in. If you go in as an engineering major and decide to switch out to something else, I think, and Kira can uh, fact check me if I'm correct, but if you're switching from engineering to a different major, the classwork isn't as hard to make up because all the core is the same. However, aren't there a few engineering electives that are only offered for freshmen that if you're not an engineering major as a freshman but decide later on, those are harder to get? Is that right?
So it's not that there's anything that's just available for freshmen, but because the engineering degree requirements are I think the heaviest, or at least
Yeah.
tied with computer science, math maybe. There are the most requirements that if you don't decide to take the first class, I think I took my first engineering class spring of freshman year, and then if you're not on track by sophomore year taking the next ones, that can be harder to organize, but it's doable. So a recommendation would be, and I think students will hear this from any upperclassmen, if you're considering engineering, take that first class freshman spring. If you switch to something else, it's not the end of the world. You took one extra engineering class.
And that wasn't the underwater robotics one, right? There was another one.
No, that would be later on. It's the engineering, design, and manufacturing. It's called E4. You get to build a hammer. Oh wait, you get to build your own hammer.
You took that? Oh, I still have my hammer. It's in my closet. My husband uses it, so we have two of them. Yeah. And then E-Thor.
Yeah.
That was funny too. I'm sorry.
Do you all want to talk about that? Just because, I think this is a good moment. Yeah. What is E-Thor or E4 or? Yeah.
Well, when I took it, Ben, was it E54? It was E54 when we took it. And I think they relaxed the requirements for you guys because we had to make a hammer, a screwdriver, the tray. So we had to do 3 things. I still have all of my stuff. The screwdriver and tray
turned into extra credit.
Yeah, and then we had to do CAD by hand. So it's So it's essentially engineering shop to teach you how to read blueprints.
Yeah,
I guess nobody uses blueprints.
It's definitely anymore, interesting as a first engineering class because you do so many hands-on projects, and you even do. I'm not positive if they've completely switched this, but we even did a mini project for an alumni that sponsored it where we designed a real device. But I think it's interesting because I know a lot of engineers that still hated that class, and it's just not reflective of the type of engineering that they wanted to do. And because it is so hands-on manufacturing, that's not what everybody's going to do with engineering. And so I will also say that, yes, it's a good first engineering class to take, and it's the first one that you would take, but it's not reflective of all the different things that you could do with engineering.
Maybe not so, but in my experience, it teaches you patience, and it teaches you to measure 9 times and cut once. So
yeah, and I think the design skills you get also are very relevant to. And design and thinking skills that you get from that class are very relevant, but just as fair warning, I know people that that turns them off from engineering when it maybe necessarily shouldn't, no matter how useful it is either way.
Not too many people like shop,
but yeah,
but it was a requirement. We had to do it.
Yeah. Well, with that in mind, how did if you can recall, or if you were privy to your child or student's decision on their major, if you can share that story, or if they just told you, hey, I did this, how did that happen? Yeah. Thinking about the core and all the courses that they have to take.
Yeah. Here, I'll go first. So when my daughter went to MUD as a freshman, we thought she would become a patent lawyer. And the MUD engineering program was one of the few that's ABET accredited for patent law later on, because I guess there's a certain number of schools that only have that accreditation. So we thought she was going to go into engineering. She applied under engineering. She got in under engineering, even though you don't apply you don't declare your major until sophomore year. But when she took CS in high school, and she really liked it, but she didn't realize how much she liked it until she took I forgot what it was, CS5 or whatever the freshman CS classes were. She really found it was CS5, and she really, really, really liked programming, and so she switched. Much to mine and my husband's chagrin, because we're both engineering from Mud, and we thought she'd be an engineer too. But yeah, it just kind of, she just said, "Mom, I really like programming." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Because I think an engineering major at Mud, and you guys can all correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it gives you a lot more career choices once you get out, because Mud just has an engineering, general engineering major. So once you leave Mud with that, you could pretty much branch out in almost anything. Whereas like math, CS, it's a little bit more narrow and focused. That's my opinion, but she chose CS, and we're okay with that.
So our son Josh thought he'd be a chemistry major, and then thought, well, maybe I want to be a biology major, and then settled on chemistry and biology combination.
Oh.
And so he will be applying to medical school this summer. And so for those parents out there who have students that think they may want to go that track, I remember when we visited in April to this same program 3 years ago, I remember hearing, well, if you want to go to medical school, this might not be the place for you to go because the academics are very rigorous. It's not a traditional pre-med kind of a program. And at that time, he was thinking about medicine, but wasn't sure. And so I would say to you that it's possible. I think that the students at Mud are so bright and so diverse and learn so much about how to think and how to move forward with situations presented to them, that whatever he or she wants to do, they'll be able to do. And so I think being on this side of it 3 years later, it makes me feel good that some of the worries we had initially about, wow, if you really wanted to pursue medicine, would it be really possible for Mud? And so it really is. So I think the students are just well equipped to do whatever they want to do by going to school there.
And for us, Annie wanted to major in engineering, I think probably since sophomore year of high school, I think. But her specific interest within the field of engineering has shifted several times since the beginning, and I'm sure will continue to shift. But Mud is a really good place to watch her exploring, and again, someone said the independent, creative, solution-based thinking. I have seen a lot of growth in her, and Mud is a really good place to support kids making different decisions based on all the information in the world around them and their peers and the faculty and the environment that is Mud. It all influences choices, and it opens the world in ways that are amazing to us to see as parents.
Yeah. This is a question that's maybe a nice transition. This is from Cindy Grijalva. The question is, how do we know if our student is doing okay socially? Who at HMC also keeps an eye on this?
So I don't know. It'd be interesting to know what Kira's thoughts are being one of those students. I think that as the parent, and particularly one that's, very far away in the number of miles from the school, you really, you kind of rely on what is your child telling you? What are they describing that they're doing? We've always talked once a week, and it's so nice through video chat or FaceTime, whatever you want to use to be able to do that. And you really do get a sense through those conversations of what's going on, what friends, they've made, what activities they've been involved in. And so I guess that's probably been our best glimpse as parents who are in Ohio, not being able to actually see, what's going on.
Yeah, so I can try to speak to this a little bit, but I kind of came in with a different situation because I play soccer for CMS. And so I came into my freshman year 3 weeks early and, was playing with my team already. And so I was very lucky to start out with a little bit of a group of friends on campus. That being said, there was only 2 other Harvey Mudd students that were both several years older than me on the team. So starting at Mudd, again, going through orientation was, again, a start of trying to figure out things socially. And I also, I think, stand out a little bit, again, because I'm very extroverted, which I don't think is the norm at Mudd. There's definitely other extroverted students and other, people that are more social rather than less, as opposed to being extroverted or introverted. But yeah, so that made things both harder and easier for me because walking around orientation, sometimes I might try to introduce myself to someone and we're not getting along. And so it is a little bit tricky at first to find your place. But it's funny that even after meeting people through classes and this and that and whatever, a lot of your friends end up being students that live in your same dorm, because Harvey Mudd does a really good job of placing students into a dorm where they're going to be with people, that are like them and have similar interests, and engage in the same way. And so there's dorms that play a lot of video games, a lot of board games, dorms that do bonfires, dorms that do, my dorm does Easter egg hunts and holiday themed activities together. And so I think that's a huge way to know, is if their students getting along with their dorm. Then again, not every student's going to like their dorm their freshman year, but yeah, I guess that's my 2 cents. I don't know if it was helpful.
I can second that because my husband and I were in the same dorm freshman year too, and that's where we met. That's where we started dating. One thing that my daughter did, she's not an extrovert. She's not quite an introvert either, but she knew that getting involved would help her transition into college. So she actually, before orientation, went online and I gotta look up the website, but the 5 Cs list all the clubs that are on campus on one of the web pages, and there's probably 300 clubs listed there. And she went through that list and identified all the clubs that she thought she might want to check out. And is it there's a Club Rush week or something like that in Pomona or Scripps or somewhere like that?
Yeah, there's various club presentation type events across the campuses, as well as on Mudd's campus. They put it right out in front of the dining hall, so you can't miss it. Everybody's gonna have to walk by it the day that they're doing it. Oh, okay. And I think I put my name down for 25 different clubs, which I regretted because I only joined 1 or 2 of them, and I couldn't figure out how to stop getting all the emails. But that's also a great way to stay involved. And yeah,
find your place. I think my daughter signed up for 5, and then she ended up whittling it down to 3 that she stayed consistent with all 4 years. And and in doing that, not only do you meet people at Mudd, you meet pretty much everybody else at the 5 Cs as well. So freshman year, she was able to make friends with people as far south as Pomona and Pitzer and Scripps and CMC and stuff like that. So it helps make the community feel a lot smaller and closer, I think. But it does, take initiative. You have to do that on your own. when you first start as a freshman, because the clubs don't necessarily come to you. You have to go to them.
No, I think another thing that our son found, the orientation adventure group, or orientate, I don't know if it's still called that now, but during the freshman orientation, you're assigned to a group of students that are similar to you. We found that the matching process for that was great. And honestly, to this day, some of the students in that group and our son are still good friends. They take fall break trip together. They still go out to eat together. And so it just happened to be the way that was, the matching was done for that. It worked really well. And then I think too, like Kira said, our son is on the CMC men's golf team. And so he is the only MUD student on that team. And, but having friends from Claremont McKenna has been really nice too. And it broadens your, you know, the people you get to know, and they actually go and do things as well. So that's been a good experience.
Any other perspectives about how to, when you're wanting to check in on how do you know how your child or your student is doing socially? If not, we're going to transition. There's more questions. This is exciting. So I'll take I'll move to the next question, which I think it keeps us on the same theme. It's from Cindy Grijalva again. It says, great info. Can you also address who at HMC keeps an eye on this? Is it a freshman advisor? Is it someone in the dorm? How does that structure look?
Oh, Kira could probably answer that, but there's RAs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
they're everywhere, actually.
probably the biggest thing is we do have mentors and proctors, which are the kind of RAs of our dorms. And so right away, people will get put into a group with different freshmen, and they'll meet their mentor. And also all of orientation is very much a bonding experience because you're going to talks and taking orientation tests together, and everyone bonds over that because it's such a small class. It's easy to, you know, get familiar with people's faces right away. But so there's the mentor groups, and they'll do things throughout the year. Some mentor groups meet more often than others. Mine kind of fell apart, but that's not to say that we weren't still, you know, involved in things like that. But I know other people who still do stuff with their freshman mentor group through senior year. And then there's proctors, which are like the residence advisors, whatever RA stands for. We don't ever say RA, so I'm not sure. But there's proctors, which are seniors in the dorms, and every dorm has one or two. And they're a lot like RAs, but I think they're way better. Not that I've ever had an RA, but my understanding is they can be kind of
back then too.
Yeah, so they can be kind of scary or intimidating. Proctors are there to make sure that you are safe, socially feeling well, emotionally, academically. You can talk to them about anything. I had check-ins and meetings with my mentors and proctors, and got really good advice just by talking to an upperclassman. And they're also there, you know, they're not there to make you feel bad if you make mistakes. Doing anything. They're not there to get you in trouble. They're there to make sure that you're okay. And I think that's very different than a typical RA, and it really helps build our community and add to it, and add to the responsibility that everybody wants to take upon themselves in the first place.
And then I think there's what is it? An admin. Mm-hmm. An admin person that lives in the dorms too, right?
Yeah, so yeah, I can speak to more to that. So we do actually have 3 professional staff members that are part of the Dean of Student Affairs. That they live on campus as well, but there's in general, they live on campus, so they're there 24 hours, but in general, there's a Dean on call each night, along with a proctor on call each night. But there's also several resources there's also several resources within the Dean of Students Office program, whether it's campus life, residential life, health and wellness. I know there's a question here now that's regarding spiritual life that I'm going to transition to. And for folks, if you can answer this one, it basically says, what religious services are available either on campus or nearby locations? I'm not sure if anyone can speak to that. If not, I'll jump in.
Oh, on spirituality?
Yeah, just available on campus. I'm not sure if your children or if you are aware of what they're doing. If not, I
Oh,
can
yeah.
give general resources. Yeah.
So my daughter, starting in freshman year, out of the list of the 300 that she looked at, found InterVarsity, which is a Christian group on campus. She got involved with that right away. She stuck with that all 4 years. And then from there, she joined other smaller Christian groups on campus. And some of them go to church together locally, and also arrange outings and events through McAllister as well. That's been good for her.
Yeah, the McAllister Center is it's a center for all of the Claremont colleges.
Yes.
So, yeah. Other voices? Yeah. Yeah. If not, if you want to take a chance to look at the McAllister Center website, that's McAllister Center, and just put Claremont, that should bring you to the correct page. Also keep in mind that we are having our residential life, our Res Life staff members, they're going to hold their own webinar in 2 weeks. So that's going to be a great time to ask questions about what campus life looks like on our campus. And also a plug, this is, I don't think family members are able to log into this, but do tell your students that there's a Discord chat. Discord is another platform that students, or actually a lot of people use it, but in the Discord chat, we're having a virtual club fair coming up. So the students themselves can talk directly with each other, unmoderated. We're not in there. We're just organizing it so they can all check out the clubs virtually. In the past, during our on-campus admitted student program, what would be happening right now be concurrent sessions, concurrent workshops and presentations, but also have concurrent student activities. So what time is it? It's 12:30, but usually around 3 p.m. is Cheese Club. So Cheese Club always has a spread of cheese and like basically in our charcuterie platter. You're missing out on that, I know, but maybe one day we'll send you virtual cheese, or I'm not sure. But definitely the Discord chat, they're trying to replicate that in a different format for the students. Yeah.
Wine and cheese is old too, because we had that when I was going there as well.
Yeah, this one's just cheese.
Oh, is it just cheese? No
well,
wine. Okay.
For
well, not everybody can have
specifically for this club, but yeah, I'll keep it there. It is a college campus. Related to that, my child likes to cook and is a foodie. Are there dorms with kitchens? Do other students cook? They probably don't have much time. Is that?
Oh no, they cook. Kiri, I'm sure you can say a lot about this, but I think they cook all the time. Well, not all the time, a lot.
It depends on the students. I know Jackie and her friends they actually don't have kitchens in their dorm, but they've set up like little kitchenettes in the corners of their rooms and stuff, because they're also foodies. And so that's one way to do it. There are also other dorms with kitchens. Granted, it's kind of hard to get that because people want to live there. I got lucky enough. There's one suite in my dorm with a kitchen, and I got lucky enough to live there my junior year with some friends that needed to get off the meal plan, or a friend who is vegan. And so that worked really well for, personally, I don't necessarily love cooking, but it was nice to lower my meal plan and take time doing that. But for my other friends with, more dietary reasons to do that, it was awesome for them to have that. There was also a public kitchen in our dorm that anybody can go downstairs and use, but this just happened to be the one suite where we had our own to ourselves. But it's definitely an option. Yeah. And there's different like cooking competitions that are dining hall I don't know if the dining hall puts it on, but I know they're hosted there. And people actually like do little mini like cook-offs. Sometimes maybe every few weeks they host one. So there's fun events like that too.
Kira, can you talk about how Drinkward is set up, and also can you talk about dorm barbecues?
Yeah, I don't know how well I can talk about how Drinkward is set up. They have really big suites, and I think most or all of them have kitchens. I actually am not.
Well,
That's
very
the
yeah.
one
familiar.
side.
Yeah,
The,
once,
the
yeah.
O, yeah, the O doesn't have kitchens because Jackie's in the O side, but the other side, the suites have
Okay.
kitchens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I had a friend who lived there with a kitchen. She got lucky getting put into that suite her freshman year. So if your kid's lucky, they might end up with a kitchen freshman year, but also probably not. And then most, if not all of the dorms also host dorm barbecues, which again is some of those events that I talked about. And usually on a Friday or Saturday night, you can replace your meal swipe with signing up to participate in the barbecue, where there's burgers and quesadillas, and you can get vegan or vegetarian options, watermelon and cookies, and you just bring out like a little grill and it gets set up in the courtyard and everyone goes, and it's a really relaxing way to come back from class or close your homework on the end of the day on a Friday or Saturday, and just, you know, cook some food with friends and hang out. And when the whole dorm goes to, it's a great way to meet people that you don't live with, meet people in different classes, like grades than you. And yeah, I definitely have a lot of good memories from dorm barbecues.
So just to add, none of the dorms in the quad have a kitchen except South, and I think it's really tiny in South. Is that right? Yeah. So East, West, North don't have kitchens. Drinkward on half the dorm side, the suites have a kitchen, but they also have a really big one downstairs that's for the whole dorm. And that's actually it's a pretty big kitchen in there. Case has a small one that's for the whole dorm, but the individual rooms don't have any kitchens. Atwood doesn't have any kitchens, right? Except for the efficiency suites that are on the outside.
Yeah, I think there's some
Efficiencies
small
still have
kitchens.
like a small, like a kitchenette kind of a place. And I don't know about Linden Sontag, so maybe you can answer those.
I don't know about Sontag, but it's fairly similarly structured to Lind. So Lind has one small dorm kitchen that people can use. It's got a full-size fridge, sink, oven, lots of burnt cookies in there. And then there's the suite that I got to live in, which is right above that kitchen. It has its own full kitchen as well.
Yeah, and of course there's also there's multiple dining halls, one on Harvey Mudd's campus, but multiple dining halls around the Claremont colleges. There's several eateries on each campus. On our campus, the main one is the cafe, which closes at 8 p.m. I think most nights, weeknights. And then there's Jay's Place that opens up at the bottom of the Platt Campus Center. That's an option for students once the dining hall closes for dinner. There are also, for folks who are not familiar with Claremont, we are just at the very edge of Los Angeles County, so we're about a 45-minute drive from downtown LA without traffic. That's always my plug there. I live closer to downtown LA than I do Mudd, and most days it takes me like 30 minutes to get to campus, so it's not bad at all. But being in a place like Los Angeles County, there's definitely lots of grocery store options around Harvey Mudd. So the closest one that you can walk to, it's a small market. Sorry, not a small market. The closest options are probably Trader Joe's, which is less than a mile away, and Vons is about a mile away. And there's also, again, big box stores all over the place. So there's Targets, Walmarts, and of course, as you all know now, given our current reality, almost anything and everything delivers. So that is an option. We've had, for some reason, in the Office of Admission, Target delivers to our office for some of our students. And I'm just like, why is it coming here? Should go to the mailroom. But somehow there's a man from Target that comes like every 2 weeks. It's a ramen, and I forget, dried mushrooms was one time. Not sure what students are ordering, but they eat with that. There's a couple questions that are related to related to the Parents Network, and I'm hoping that the parents can talk to this, and of course, Nicole, if you can chime in as well. The Parents Network sounds like a great option for parents not near LA. How and when do we get linked in with that group? Related to that, we live in the Bay Area. How do we meet other families from our area?
Can I maybe just start and then ask
Yes.
the PLC members to weigh in? So the Parent Leadership Council was created about 6 years ago with the idea that we wanted to enhance the parent community, help parent-to-parent connections, and just provide support to parents on campus. So PLC members are really ambassadors. They represent different geographical areas around the country and also internationally. So we have West Coast Southern, West Coast Northern, East Coast, an at-large group, and international. And we typically, PLC members come to campus and act as ambassadors at on-campus events during parent orientation, during family weekend, during commencement weekend, but they also are really instrumental in creating relationships in areas where they live and represent. So we have a number of events, regional events throughout the year, primarily the summer welcome receptions. So the question about connecting with other Bay Area parents, new families can attend a summer welcome reception. In the last few years, we've had 12 or 13 around the country and internationally. You're welcome to attend any one you like, but that's a great place to meet families from your area. And then we also have winter receptions. So weather permitting, some families host at their home during the winter break, which is a nice experience as well. We typically encourage, when you come to campus in the fall, parent orientation and then family weekend. That's a great time that first semester to kind of get your bearings about MUD. And then in the spring semester, we really start bringing on new PLC members. So we want you to have a chance to get to know the culture and let your child get settled. And then typically in the spring, we'll have people join. And that we have you come to campus several times a year for a meeting that is around an event already going on campus, family weekend, parent orientation. So Kim, Eileen, Liz, and Dean, do you want to speak about why you joined and how it's been helpful or how you've been involved? What we found is parents bring different skills and strengths to the table. So some parents are interested in being in hosting events. Some parents want to help with career networking. Some parents a variety of different things, but just bringing their skills and strengths, we try and do a nice job of making it a meaningful volunteer experience in the community.
So my husband Gary and I are members of the PLC, and we are, I guess, in the at-large category. There are not many people from Ohio or, our immediate surroundings that go to MUD, but actually over the 3 years that Josh has been there have been a few more. And in fact, there is someone from his high school who's graduating this year who's actually going to MUD. So of all things, that was kind of a surprise to us. But I know that there have been some of the gatherings in the cities you talk about, Nicole, and Chicago is the one closest to us. We had not, we didn't attend, but those events are nice. Another thing, the PLC members reach out to families through email, through phone calls, through handwritten notes. And honestly, we want to be helpful to you. So we know we've been through the things that you're going through at this point in time, and really we just want to be able to answer any questions, provide any support that that we can really. The other piece is there are the events that Nicole talks about. The parents that attend are really there to be friendly and get to know you. The Facebook page for the families has been really useful. And you know, will get privileges to that particular page. But there are numerous people posting things, or you'll see notes of, my student left so-and-so at home and we live in the Phoenix area. Is anyone going there anytime soon? And you would be amazed at the people that pop up and say, sure, I'm headed there. I'll be glad to give me your address. I'll come by and pick it up and I'll take it next weekend when I go up. So that any kind of questions, my child needs an urgent care, or my child needs a dentist, who would you recommend? And it is almost instantaneous the way different family members, you know, will respond to those messages. So that has been really nice too.
So, yeah, this is Liz. So Dean and I last summer hosted a summer reception, and there were about 40 people crowded into our house. I think it was the hottest day of the year, so we could not enjoy the yard or the porch. But that was a fabulous way to connect to other local families, several of whom we spent additional time with at family weekend. And so you sort of get to know people a little bit better hosting receptions, and then you see folks again. In the airport, we gave one of the people who was at our house a ride home from right to her spot from the airport. So it's just a really great way, if that's something that you're able to host a reception. I think it's just probably because of where in the country we were, lots of folks were interested in that.
And I can chime in and say my parents have gotten close with some of my friends' parents by coming on Parents Weekend and going out to meals together, just hanging out around campus. And I think they've really enjoyed that. And it's nice that even though sometimes it feels so disconnected, you know, with family in Chicago and me being at school with all these people they don't know in California, that Parents Weekend has been really nice. And it's really nice when they've gotten to meet my friends and their parents and families and make those connections.
Hi, folks. We'll welcome any more questions that you might have for our panelists. So this is the next one that I saw. You know, as an athlete, I think this is a question for Kara probably. As an athlete, were you rooming with fellow athletes as well?
Yeah, so my freshman year roommate actually was an athlete. I play soccer. She did cross country. She ended up not continuing past freshman year, but I continued to room with her my sophomore year. We were really good friends. I have other friends who are athletes, and their freshman year roommate was another athlete or wasn't. I'm not sure if we got put together because we were both athletes. I'm sure that's definitely a very relevant thing to think about when making roommates, but I think you can also probably request it when you fill out your form. I don't remember if I did or not, but you can probably request to live with another athlete if that, you know, makes you feel more comfortable. I know it was nice for me that, you know, we both had some, you know, smelly shoes in the room, and we both understood, you know, she had to wake up early for practice and I had to come back late and all this stuff. I think you can request it if you want, or you could request not to live with an athlete. I'm not sure, but the roommate form is very it's very well made, and it encompasses, you know, all the different thoughts you might have on your roommate.
Yeah. Oh,
I know for Annie, her freshman year, her roommate was not an athlete. Annie runs track and cross country, but this year she's been in a quad with all runners.
Yeah. So thank you for that, the Elliots collectively. So there's another question about what kind of campus security is available late nights if students have to go to labs late and et cetera. So this is for, I guess, for Kira and for the parents. So how do you know that your child's going to be safe on campus? Yeah.
I can speak first. So there's always campus security roaming around. And we also have, you know, the blue lights where if there's an emergency, you can press those. I don't think I know anybody that's ever had to do that. but you can call campus security. Again, you can call your proctors if there's a smaller issue, the proctor on call, the dean on call. And as far as going to like a late night lab, I always feel very safe on campus. Harvey Mudd is so small in the first place. And when you're walking from one place to another, you walk past all of your friends' rooms, and then you walk past the dorm you have your building you have your classes in, and then you're wherever you need to go. So it really does help that it's so small. Sometimes it's, I'll be walking late at night from my campus to, Claremont McKenna or a different campus. Maybe I'm hanging out with friends or doing something. And again, campus security is roaming around. All the campuses are right next to each other across the street. So even when I leave Harvey Mudd campus, I'm on a different school's campus. And so I usually feel very safe. And when there are incidents, if there's a small incident, whatever it may be, I get a text immediately, so-and-so saw this suspicious vehicle, whatever it might be. Nothing crazy's happened on campus. I always feel very safe, and campus safety is around and very responsive.
And as a parent, you can sign up to receive those campus, I think they're called campus safety notifications. So we get those messages about just what Kira was speaking of. I think one of the things, though, is it seems to be, my impression, a safe place. I mean, you always have to be smart when you're out in the world, no matter where you are. But the campuses, you really step off one curb onto the other and you're on a different campus. So I think that makes a difference. It does seem to be a friendly place. And I think the other thing, and this goes back to what Eileen was saying, your students at school and you don't know what they're doing and you don't know where they are, and you just have to let that go and trust that they are around friends that and people that keep up with them, and that you've got folks that are part of the Harvey Mudd administration, and they have people that are kind of in charge of things and keep an eye on people, and it's different. They're not living in your home anymore where you hear them when they come in and when they leave, and that's part of this process of separation and growing up and being even more independent.
So back in me and my husband's day, I know it sounds weird now, but we used to have an escort service where the women could always call somebody. There was always somebody assigned who was available to walk you back to your room if you didn't feel comfortable walking back yourself. And we had that back in the 90s. I don't think they have that now, right, Kira? Probably not.
Not that I'm aware of, nothing that specific, but you can always call campus safety if you don't feel safe and you want, you prefer to get a ride somewhere. I've even been walking, from a friend's dorm on a different campus back to mine at the end of the night, and had campus safety, roll up in their little golf cart next to me and offer me a ride back to my room. So they're around and they're very accessible.
Mm-hmm. So even though we had that back in our day, I never used it. One, because I had my husband who was my boyfriend at the time, so he'd always walk me back to my room or whatever. If we were like working late, especially during E4, and we had to wait for a spot at the lathes or the mills or whatever, waiting for our turn to use the machines. But we would walk, and I would walk down to Pomona even late at night back then and not feel threatened at all. It was always a safe environment then, and I don't think that's changed at all. Probably because everything is so close together, and Mudd itself is so small. I would remember walking back to my room from like the academic end at like 1, 2 in the morning, and walk all the way back to Case because that was the furthest campus back in the day, and not really feel worried. Oh, and then back then they gave us whistles, so we were only allowed to blow them if we were in trouble, and I don't think I've never had to use that. But I guess now campus security, they tend to roam more frequently now, so the women don't need whistles anymore. Have you heard of that, Kira?
I haven't.
No, yeah. I didn't keep my whistle, but yeah. But it's a very safe environment, and the campus security texts that parents can sign on to, they're very reassuring too. And we rarely get messages. Is that right, Kim? Yeah,
Right,
maybe
right.
like once every 2-3 months at the most. Yeah, very infrequent.
Marissa, you're muted.
Thank you. I was following my own instructions and saying, make sure you're muted if you're not talking. But Kira, if I could have you ask the question that Federico has posed, and yep, appreciate it.
Yeah, so he's saying that a mother asked, my undergrad experience was in a similar environment, small liberal arts college with an honor code and social service mindset. At the time, which was 30 years ago, we used to discuss the feeling of living in a bubble, this utopian world that did not resemble the real world. Your childhood background or city of origins was very different from Haverford. So, Kira or parents, do you hear some of this at MUD? Yes, there's always talk about how campus sometimes feels like a bubble and it can be hard to find your way out of it or get off campus. But I think that, you know, there's talk about that. People say it can be true, but it's up to you to make that untrue. It's up to you to get off campus, to get, first of all, getting off of MUD and getting to the other 5 Cs. I know people that don't do that, and that's fine. If you're happy with that, you can do that. But that's one way to start. Then there's the Claremont area. There's a lot of community service and involvement. I know CMS promotes athletes to do volunteering at the local elementary schools and teach their PE classes. So that's been really fun for me to get involved with the community. And then in terms of getting into LA, there's a train that goes straight to Union Station in the heart of the city. And from there, you can go to concerts, go to the beach, do things. And it can be hard. You're not going to get out off campus every weekend. But I think bottom line is that, yes, of course, it starts to feel like a bubble. It's a small campus and we're very close to each other. But it's up to you to change that if you want. And if you'd prefer another environment, it's very doable. The resources are there for you to do that.
Yeah. I would also just offer a story. When I'm the person that's the representative that recruits out of New York City or the state of New York, and I have New York, Ohio, Nevada. I think they gave me the N's and some of the O's. I used to have Oregon, but I now no longer have Oregon. But one of our New Yorkers has never driven, will probably never drive. It's Jossie, in case you're wondering, Kira. But Jossie, I know when he was doing summer research, or he was on campus for summer at one point, or something to that degree, but basically he would make it out to Venice Beach all on public transportation. So if you ever go on a map of from Claremont all the way to Venice, if you were driving without traffic, maybe you get there in an hour without traffic. But Jossie did this all in public transportation. He would take the Metrolink with a friend. And actually, I think he would do this on weekends, now that I think about it. He would take the Metrolink from the foot of Pomona's campus into downtown LA. And from downtown LA, he would change to the Metro train and get to the beaches that way. And I'd ask him, how do you do this? I'm like, well, yeah, I pretty much, it's like an hour and a half train ride. I do homework. By the time I'm done with my homework, I'm getting off and I'm on my skateboard on Venice Beach. So even for a New Yorker who does not drive, he made it off campus because, again, he wanted to. And then the following summer, he did an internship at, I forget if it's Google or Facebook, I forget which company, out on Venice Beach. So that made commuting to Venice and Santa Monica much easier that summer for him. But so that's offering that story. There's a question here. If students live close by in California, how often do they go home? Once a month or less frequent?
Okay, I'll take that one since I'm the California parent. Hardly ever. Even when I went to MUD too, I hardly ever went home. There was always too much to do, too much homework, too much socializing on the weekends near campus. My daughter used to, well, she'd come home for spring break initially, but then after a couple of years, she'd plan trips with people and go elsewhere. And then over the summers, she'd have internships, and they were not anywhere near California. So we had to learn to let go pretty quick because she didn't come home that often. And in October, there's a 3-day break. I think it's still called fall break. Freshman year, she came home, but that was it. After that, it was maybe one day at Thanksgiving, Christmas vacation. She was back, but the summers, a lot of the kids would go to the career fairs that were offered on campus to try and lock down some kind of summer internship somewhere. And so once she started taking advantage of that, we hardly ever saw her. So this coronavirus break is actually nice because we get to have her home more than I think we've ever had her home. So hope that helps.
I also have other friends who live near campus, and while they might not go home very often, they might meet their parents for brunch on a weekend or something. So that's another option. I think it just depends on the student. And for me, even being from Chicago, I still sounds like I might make it home a little more often than Jackie even, because I'm usually even if I do a spring break trip, if I can, I'll tag a day where I get a pit stop in Chicago, or staying home for winter breaks. I was home for several summers until after my junior year. I lived in the Bay Area, but the summers before that I was still home. So it can also just depend on the student.
Okay, I'm going to amend that a little bit. So even though she didn't come home on the prescribed breaks, I would get a text that says, "Hey, Mom, can you come up this weekend and let's go to brunch," or whatever. So it's not like I never saw her, but I didn't see her for any long extended periods of time. So I don't know.
Would you also agree that family weekend, you had maybe some time with your mother, but maybe not 2 or 3 full days with your mother on campus? And tell us a little bit about what is family weekend all about, and what did you get out of it as parents?
So we'll take this one. I think for us, family weekend was a great way to get a glimpse into the Mudd life. Freshman year, we brought our younger daughter, who's now a junior in high school, and Annie just showed up in the morning and took our younger daughter, and we didn't see either of them all day. So Katie got the full experience, including lunch in Scripps somewhere. And we did manage one big family dinner. I have relatives who are in the area who came in. So my goal for family weekend, I think, has been to get a really good one-time, several-hour visit, and then learn about what Annie does at Mudd and why Mudd is so important to her. But we, either time last year or this year, didn't get to spend a ton of time with our daughter, but I think we were able to support her and to see what Mudd is like. And that was probably as important as the big family dinner that we did get to spend with her.
I'll add that also connecting with other families is a big part of family weekend, and meeting her friends' parents and other PLC members and other families from all over the place.
So I'll chime in. So Josh has been at the school for 3 years. We've been to family weekend once, and we went in his freshman year. And I agree with what Liz was saying. You really realistically should not plan on that being a day or a visit where you're going to have 2 or 3 days with your student, because quite honestly, they're extremely busy. And even, they use weekends to do a whole lot of homework. And so the experience at Mudd is different from what you may think of as a typical college, where weekends you have off and you're going to football games and parties and whatnot. That is not the case at Mudd, I don't think, for most students. And so there's much more homework and work to be done, and they really need the hours in the weekend to get a lot of that done. Not to say they don't have breaks, But I do remember the parent weekend or family weekend. We saw our son and did things, but honestly, you could tell it was stressful for him in a little way, and that we wanted to spend more time with him because we had the whole weekend to spend with him, and he didn't have that time to spend with us. And so I just think, kind of eyes wide open, you just need to have realistic expectations for that. It's great to see the school and meet the parents and get a better glimpse into things. And that's truly, valuable. But I do agree with what Liz was saying. And when you live very far away, then you, I think as a parent, you think, oh, great, we're going to take this trip and we're going to go visit. And it's, you're in a different place in your mind and your heart, I think, than where your student might be. I think they're glad to see you, certainly, but they've got a lot of other priorities than you do at that point in time. And so even going to visit them, perhaps even at a different time in the semester that might work better for them, where they have a little more breathing room, is another option as well. So, we were scheduled to come out to California this weekend, specifically to attend this program. And so we were greatly disappointed that, of course, the trip got canceled. But I have to tell you, the whole Admitted Students program was great and left a really positive impression on us as a family, and really helped as parents, thinking that, wow, our son's going to go away, far away to school, and how will that be? And we left feeling like, well, if this is the place that he chooses, then this will be a great place for him.
Okay, so I went to family weekend our freshman year. I probably saw my daughter for dinner, one Target run, and then there was a party that night. So she said, Mom, I want to go to this party. So mothers do party on the weekends, but it's just the weekends usually. And that was the only family weekend that we went to. But, we're a little bit different because both my husband and I are alumni. So we're familiar with the school, we're familiar with the program. We went our freshman year just to see how much things had changed academically and on the residential side. And it seemed like socially it didn't change a whole lot from the time we went. Academically, it changed a little bit. So it was good for us to notice the differences. But for the most part, I agree with Kim and Liz in their assessment with their kids. It's the middle of the semester. They're busy. They've got projects. They've got assignments that they still have to do. It's a typical weekend for them. So not anticipating spending a lot, or not hoping for a lot of time with your child that weekend. Or any weekend maybe that you decide to go visit them at MUD, just to give them the space to do their homework and their assignments and other commitments that they have, I think is good.
Related to that, there's a question regarding how does the school help students deal with academic stress?
I can start with that. So there's a lot that the school does to help deal with, the amount of work that you do. Biggest things being right up front is that there's a lot of peer tutoring, lots of open office hours. It's just really nice that it is a small school, and we have the core curriculum that, especially, freshman, sophomore year, everybody's taking, for the most part, the same classes at the same time. And so the entire academic faculty can organize themselves in a way to be best suited to help students. They can make sure that tutoring for certain classes don't overlap with each other and this and that, because they know exactly what every student is doing. And so that's really nice. And I go to the tutoring, well, freshman, sophomore year, at least, I'd go to the tutoring every single night. And it was really helpful to work with other students to get questions answered from other students. And so there's that. And then in terms of actually dealing with the stress, that I think that Mud has been trying to be really receptive to the stress levels and the way that students are dealing with the curriculum. And so we see that in the way that the curriculum is changing. Even the core curriculum that I was required to take my freshman year is different from the core curriculum that current sophomores and current freshmen have taken. Not by much, maybe just a class or curriculum in parts of the classes. I think they don't have to take statistics anymore, which I did take. And so just a class or two here and there, but they're constantly reviewing which classes are taught, what students are getting out of it, what's happening in each class, what's the best way to teach each class. I think another one from core went from just a regular lecture class to a flipped classroom style. So they're constantly observing the classes and trying to change things for the better. And I've seen it happen in the 4 years that I've been there. And yeah.
Maybe Kira can answer this too, but I think all freshmen are assigned an academic advisor, correct? Your freshman year. And that advisor monitors your grades essentially pretty much from the beginning. And if they start to see slipping or maybe not so ideal grades coming in initially, they pretty much jump in on board right away and pretty much help the student out to figure out how they can manage their workload, right?
Yeah, so they send out academic advisories anytime a grade will, get to a certain point, and it's basically just a request to meet with the professor and have a conversation about it. So they're very on top of students' grades, and it's not just grades either. Also, like if you're having problems in class, there's resources of people you can talk to about, what you need to be successful learning at Harvey Mudd and things like that.
Yes, there's also, so aside from faculty members, there are professional staff members that in academic affairs and student affairs who do keep an eye out for our students. I just want to give a quick heads up on time. We're at 1:05 and we definitely appreciate your questions, and we are happy to answer as many of them as that comes through. So we're hoping to hold the room open till about 1:15. If there are no questions after 1:15, we're going to close the room. But also keep in mind that on April 15th, that's Wednesday at 5:30 Pacific, there is an Admitted Families web chat. So there's more questions for family members. There's another opportunity to talk to them directly there. And I want to go back to a question that I accidentally dismissed a bit too early. And the question was, earlier, there were a list of logistical things that we can do this summer to ease our child's transition. One parent said bank account. Anything else? I haven't gone to undergrad college in the US, and my oldest is going to college now. So any other logistical things that would be maybe some practical advice to help your students transition?
So, I can chime in here. So I do think the bank account, that's really important. If you get that set up ahead of time, then that's one less thing you have to deal with, when you're moving in. I know for us, we flew out to California, for the move-in, and so we were limited in what we could carry with us in suitcases. So we did ship some things out ahead of time. So really. And maybe it's just me being neurotic, I don't know. But I, would think about, okay, sheets and towels, and I bought them and we washed them and we laundered them here at home and then shipped them out because I thought, well, I don't know how I would wash that once we got there if it was brand new. Although there are washers and dryers in the dorm, and so you could do it that way, but I didn't know that at the time. I think too, one thing, so I happen to be a nurse. And so of course I think about, well, what if, your child gets sick, then what? And so I would say some things to check into are, your health insurance options, whether you have health insurance that will transfer and cover your student while they're in school, or whether you use the program that, you can utilize through the Claremont colleges. kind of checking out what urgent cares are around that area, because there are some. What's your closest hospital? All those types of things we looked into. And like I say, it may only be because I work in the healthcare field that I thought about that. Another thing we did was assemble a medicine box. So just a small plastic tote, like a shoebox style, but some common things that you think you might need if you get sick. And that way, if your student has the sniffles, or I don't know, whatever may happen, they don't have to worry about going to the store to get things. They've got it right there with them in their room. A great laptop computer is another, very necessary thing. So for us, it was a lot of different things like that. I think too, don't stress over it too much. I probably stressed over it more than I should have. Amazon's great, and it delivers to California, and it goes right to the mailroom. And so, setting up your students so they can order from those kind of things too makes things a lot easier.
I'm going to add to this too, and I'm sure Kira can second this. But after the upperclassmen come back on campus after break, there's usually a lot of wheeling and dealing going on. Upperclassmen that maybe want to sell their refrigerators or their toaster ovens or couches or whatnot. So the community, because it's so small, the students do get together, and you can shop around from other classmen for items that maybe you didn't think you wanted, but now that your parents left and they're not available to get it for you, you can buy something from an upperclassman. They do book exchanges too, right? For those that buy textbooks, upperclassmen pass them down to the lower classmen as well. And then for us, because we were local, I didn't buy as much because I figured we could just get it all once we got to campus, because there's a Target nearby, there's Costco nearby, there's Bed Bath & Beyond, there's lots of big box places close to campus that you can pick up items that maybe you didn't want to ship or that you didn't think of and you forgot or whatnot. So in Southern California, everything's really accessible.
And I know one thing that we got for Annie, her freshman year, that was really, really helpful was a bike. We went to Walmart and got a Schwinn, because that is, although campus is very safe, that is the one thing that we were was talked about some, was that some bikes, especially really nice ones, had a tendency to get stolen at times. And so she left her good bike at home, and we just, got her something that would work. She traded it for a better one. But, I know there's a really nice used bike store very close to campus. So I would just sort of think that a bike and a lock for the bike are probably sort of things to think about that would make life a little bit easier getting around. I mean, she's an athlete and she has to get longer distances sometimes. So that was really helpful for her.
Yeah, I also got a skateboard my freshman year, figured out how to ride it, and then used it. A lot of people ride skateboards or bikes, and so that's definitely can be a good idea, but it's also such a small campus, so it's not necessary. Yes, there are places to buy stuff on campus. I shipped some stuff and then bought some stuff once I got to school, and then yes, don't buy as much stuff as you think you need, because there are a ton of auctions, especially for you guys. We got kicked off campus pretty freaking quickly, so there's a lot of stuff left behind for you guys from the senior class. At least I left a ton of stuff and just put a little sticker on it and said, this is free, or you can please give me $2. But, I can't control that at this point. So there's a lot of stuff for you guys to pick up when you get on campus through dorm auctions. That'll probably happen during your orientation week. So if there's some things like storage containers or a lamp, those are definitely the type of thing that you can get if you're willing to just wait a few extra days for the auctions.
I might add to televisions, refrigerators, computer monitors, printers if you want one of your own in your own room, hot pots, anything pretty much, right, Kira?
Yeah, so as
Yeah.
useful as it is to shop while your parents are with you, some of those you know, classic dorm room items, you can definitely find them if they're not at the auction that you want. There are Facebook pages for buying and selling items across the 5C campuses. There's one called 5C for sale / for free, and people will post items of their stuff. And I've sold things to people from Scripps and Pitzer that I just want to get off my hands, and I've also bought other things from them. So if you can get an upperclassman to let you in on those Facebook pages, those are also a great way to get things from around the campus, and it's always cheaper that way. So
It appears we have one question that says, to the alumni, so what is it that's changed academically and socially from your time? There's only one alumni. That's you, Eileen.
I know. So, okay. Socially, I don't think it has changed a whole lot, although I think there's way more clubs on campus now. So there's a lot more opportunity for outreach across the 5Cs. My husband, when he was there, he was involved in tennis team, CMS tennis team. He did Claremont Chamber. He did Pomona Symphony. So he was all over the place. I was a hermit. I rarely got off mud except to go to his concerts and whatnot. So we're kind of, but I'm more loud than he is. So go figure on that one. But socially, I've seen a lot more clubs, a lot more 5C intermixing, and I think that's great. Academically, I'm a little biased, but I think mud got a little bit easier. I think our core 20 some odd years ago was a lot harder. There's a lot more administrative, I don't know if I want to say oversight, but how should I say this? I think that the administration is looking at the students and their stress level a lot more closely now than they did when I was at MUD. We didn't have academic advisors. It was on us to go to the professors if we needed help. We had ITRs. I don't think, when I mention it to Jackie, she doesn't know what that means, but inability to return. And after freshman year, my class was 150 starting off. And by the end of freshman year, we lost like 30 people. And back then we had yearbooks, and the yearbooks would show our freshman year picture and then our senior year picture, and all the people that had left, their faces were blacked out. I don't think they do that anymore. There's no yearbooks anyway, but I think that the school is a lot more cognizant of students and their stress levels, and catering the academic load to their needs, not necessarily lowering standards per se, but just being more available. They reach out more now, I think, than when I was there. So, you know, that's a good thing, I think, from the student perspective. It's gotten bigger. Every year, I think MUD wants to increase the school population. And Nicole, I think you've heard this a lot, right? Where the alumni, they're like, no, don't make it bigger.
The 10-year plan.
Yeah. Yeah, so when I went to MUD, we had, gosh, how many people were there? I think a little over 600. And now I think the population size is 900. Some of the dorms are triplets, which I think once the new dorm is built, that will help alleviate some of the room load. I had a single double in case. That was pretty cool. My junior year, that was pretty neat. I think MUD has gotten better in many different ways. Some things have changed, some things have stayed the same. But I think the quality of the output of the students has, if it hasn't changed, it's gotten better, in my opinion.
Thank you for that, Eileen. That's always for me, this is my 13th academic year working at Harvey Mudd. So whenever there's an alum that gets asked that question, I'm always like, what are they going to say? Because I mean, even in my short 13 years at Mudd, that the answer to that question has really evolved. And I think your response, Eileen, reflects really where the college has put a lot of their money towards, right? Flipping classrooms, like Kara mentioned, so that it can adapt to the different types of learners that we have, right? To putting more professional staff members for different resources like academic affairs or counseling services. And that is part of the growth. There is a physical growth. We have a brand new building coming up, the McGregor Computer Science Building, and then the new dorm coming up after that. But whenever people ask me, oh, what do you think Mudd can work on, or what are you most proud of? I really think about like the growth, not just in the number of students. We're just south of 900 right now. We're like at 885, I think, in enrollment. But I also talk about just the growth in resources also. And that's, again, I'm like, well, I wonder if people understand that this could be a good thing, right? As well. So thank you for your perspective, Eileen. I really appreciated that. We do have maybe just a couple more questions. I think there's a very timely question that got asked a while ago. This is from Jeremy Kim. What are your thoughts about the possibility of going back to school in the fall with what's currently going on? And this is, well, Kira will not be going back to campus because she's wrapping up her senior year now, but for your children, for those returning, can folks speak to that?
Well, I certainly hope everybody goes back to school in the fall. I think every one of us needs to get back to some sense of productivity and normal at a certain point. And so we'll just see what that point is. I know that last evening, actually, Mudd had a session with Maria and others talking about some of this, and we don't really know the answer yet. We'll have to see what the next couple of months bring. Whether the semester is delayed by a few weeks in starting could be an option. Maybe it starts on time. Whether there's some online combined with some classroom, virtual presence for people, because Mudd students come from long distances, a lot of them, in a lot of different countries. So I think it's all up in the air right now, like so many things are that we're dealing with. But what I really sense is that Mudd, one of the things that makes Mudd so special in my estimation is the teaching, the small student size, the relationship that the professors have with the students, the sheer love of the professors to teach. And so I'm certain that, Mudd will make a great decision along with, all the Claremont colleges as to when it's appropriate to bring all of our students back. But I have no doubt in my mind that as soon as that's feasible, then it will absolutely happen, because I think being in each other's presence is really important for everyone involved.
So I guess a bit of perspective. I mean, we're on the East Coast. Annie is still in California. She's with my cousin. I'm also a nurse. I work in public health. And from my perspective, Harvey Mudd has done a really good job at communicating specifically, clearly, and keeping everyone safe. And I feel like it's a sort of a worry that I didn't have to do, because, and it came from Maria, I think, from the top. People there pay attention, listen to news, digest it appropriately, and most importantly, they communicate it to the community. So it's really been very refreshing, because this is complicated for everyone. And at least that piece of things, I feel like, okay, it's messy. Yeah. We're all worried. Yeah. but Harvey Mudd is going to figure out the problem to this and lots of other things. And those kids and those faculty and the community will make it better. And so I think that's what I keep at the forefront of my mind.
Well, with that, are there any, thank you for the votes of confidence and I'll definitely make sure to forward your feedback back up to our cabinet. I mean, I myself, I have friends who work in academia at different campuses. Some are professors, some are in administrative roles like myself. So clearly folks are handling it in the best ways that they can for their different communities. But with transitioning to our end here, are there any pieces of advice or any last words you'd like to share? I know that we all miss being on Mudd's campus and are looking forward to welcoming each other back to our home. But anything else that folks are able to share at this time?
I'd like to make one comment that I made on last year's panel, and having a daughter interested in STEM, I can't think of a better place than Harvey Mudd for her. From President Cave on down, the faculty is right around 50% male, female, and has some very strong women leaders in STEM fields. And yeah, I can't think of better role models and a better place for her to be.
All right. Well, thank you all again. And again, a plug for our next family event on April 15th. And also family members are also invited to do the Mathemagics presentation with Professor Benjamin on Monday at, that's Monday the 6th at 5:30. So if you're ever wondering what we're doing or what we're up to and how to stay connected, hmc.edu/admitted is the website to go to. You can also find us on Instagram at HMC Admission, Facebook. There's a families page there, actually, specifically, both for admitted families. So that's the place to go for admitted families. And once you're part of our home, part of our community, please do join the family Facebook group that the folks here that you just heard from are a part of. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for spending your Saturday with us, and enjoy your day. Stay at home. Be safe. Bye-bye. Thank you again,
Bye-bye.
folks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kira, Jackie said hi. She would come down, but she's still in bed. Go figure.
Thank you, everyone. Hi, Kira.
Thank
Good to
you.
see you.
Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
can tell her I said hi too.
Bye-bye.
So Raisa, just real quick.
Yeah, what's up?
Are you the 15th? Do you have a set panel?
I'm
you
not
guys
the
reaching
one
out?
setting that up. At
Oh,
least
okay.
I don't think I am. And I'm assuming yes. I know I'm doing the tech on the background for it,
Yeah,
but I'm not on camera for it. I know that there's one for sure. It's a first-year student, a parent from a first-year student's parent is the one name I know for sure. But Nicole was working on it. Actually, I don't know who was working on it. I'm going to stop misspeaking. But I do know that at least one name I know is confirmed. But thank you again,
okay.
Eileen.
Okay, thank you.
Be well. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.